Welcome in to OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, and for some reason, your fearless leader is no longer immediately sharing things on Twitter. I think they have broken that. Let's see. Is that true? Let me see. How's that going? Hold on a sec. Are people seeing this? Question as we get going here. Do you see this in your Twitter feeds? Do you see this in your Twitter feeds, or is my link broken to automatically share my show? I don't get. I think it's here. All right, you're seeing it in. You see it in my Twitter feed. Okay, good. All right, want to make sure on that. It wasn't working last time. All right, perfect. Welcome in to OutKick the show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis, and I am going to destroy the decision-making of the Chicago Cubs and tell you why I think it's significant. I appreciate all of you. Hope you're having great Thursdays. I'll be on Lock It In here soon. But in the meantime, there is a lot to get to, and I want to dive right in to the Cubs story. One bit of news off the top here. We just got news from Adrian Wojnarowski that there is an injury, a slight strain to Kevin Durant's right calf, and that the Warriors will evaluate it next week. But that sounds like Durant will be out for Game 6 and potentially out for Game 7 as well. So this is an intriguing story to follow, because we could have the reverse story happening for Kevin Durant now as to what we saw happen for the Houston Rockets and for the injury that happened last year to Chris Paul, basically the reverse situation. But I want to dive right in to the Chicago Cubs story and explain to you why it is a fundamental failure. By the way, I'm not on Facebook right now because I managed to accidentally click add an update, and the update is taking forever. So on my Facebook feed. So the Facebook version of this show won't happen today. You have to be on Periscope. So here's what happened. This is evidently, to some people, I can barely even do the signal. This is evidently, to some people, a racist statement. Okay? This is one of the dumbest controversies of all time. And I'm going to walk you through why this is a dumb controversy, yet also why it is significant. Okay, let's start here. If you are not aware, a couple of days ago, there was a fan down close to the field behind Doug Glanville, who is a black reporter for the Chicago Cubs local network, who was flying basically, I can't even hardly do the signal, like this type signal, right? And basically, if you have ever played in your life the game where you try to flash a circle below your waist, and then if somebody sees it and looks at it, you punch them right in the shoulder. This is a game that is insanely popular, all right? I will get into all this, but I want to kind of give it context to begin with. There's a group called 4chan, which is on the internet, and they are like kind of gleeful pranksters. They find absurdity, they highlight it, they ridicule it. A couple of years ago, they noticed something that I think almost everyone has noticed, which is everything is racist in America today, especially since Donald Trump got elected. Everything is racist, all right? And so as a result, they said, let's create an insanely huge and ridiculous prank. We are going to make the OK sign, which is one of the most popular hand gestures, right up there with the thumbs up in the history of mankind. We are going to turn the OK sign into a W and a P and say it stands for white power. And so, as a result, this prank was begun. And they wanted to do this prank to ridicule the mainstream media and make them look absurd by turning this totally innocuous hand gesture into a supposed sign for white privilege, white power. And so they started it, and even places like the Anti-Defamation League were onto them. All right, this idea behind the prank was Everything is racist. Let's take the thing that is the least racist we can think of that people do on a regular basis. Could have just been the thumbs up sign. And let's turn it into a symbol of racism. All right? And then they started playing this merry prank on the internet. Only, you know how this is going to go, right? The people in the mainstream media, by and large, are stupid. All right? Let's not underrate how stupid the average member of the mainstream media is. All you had to do was a simple Google search, and you could chase it all down and know exactly what was going on here. Instead, the mainstream media, which is obsessed with the idea that racism is everywhere, bought into the idea that this is a racist symbol. Okay? Even though it has meant okay for hundreds, if not thousands of years, even though everybody who plays basketball or watches basketball has seen somebody throw up the three, or potentially even, wiggle, wiggle, the three goggles, right? And instead of that, they decided to turn it into a form of racism. And so this is outrageous and ridiculous and absurd. And the Cubs just bought this idea hook, line, and sinker. I mean, that is unbelievable. The Cubs never, ever conducted an investigation. A fan was on television behind a black reporter doing this signal. I think what he was probably doing is trying to send a message to his friends, especially because it followed the peace gesture. And the Cubs have turned it into a huge sign of racism, which is yet further evidence of how stupid we all are as a country. In fact, Theo Epstein said this. I swear to God, this is a real statement. The incident last night is truly disgusting. It gave me shivers to watch that. Shivers! He said it gave him shivers. He said a dude throwing up an okay sign gave him shivers. And hardly anybody called him on it. Shivers! You're a grown man. And God forbid what happens when somebody gives him the thumb sign. The peace sign really would have triggered him. God forbid a woman went between the double Spock fingers and stuck her tongue there. Theo Epstein would have died. He said he shivered when he saw it. Oh my God, it's so bad. I shivered. To see that take place at Wrigley Field. For somebody to say it's okay, you shivered when somebody said it was okay. Appropriately, we've made clear how egregious and unacceptable that behavior is, and there's no place for that in society, in baseball, and Wrigley Field. The person responsible for that gesture will never be welcomed back at Wrigley Field. I don't know that the phrase DBAP has ever been more appropriate in the history of my life as a sports fan than when I saw this. I don't know how Theo Epstein would respond if somebody did this in his vicinity, but we know that the intent, by and large, of this, which is just a finger, right, is to offend people. All right? The intent of this is to offend people. Have the Cubs ever banned a fan? And I'm sure there have been hundreds, if not thousands, over the years who a camera has caught doing this. I guarantee you the answer is no. This is one of the most ridiculous stories I've ever seen. The Cubs said that they have done no actual investigation into this fan's background. We don't even know if they know who it is. We don't even know if they actually banned anybody. But here was what we do know. On the same day that the Cubs announced they banned this fan for the okay gesture, they brought Addison Russell back from a 40-game suspension for beating up his girlfriend. And they didn't express any outrage at all. I want you to think about this hypocrisy for a moment. Theo Epstein says that he was so upset that he was shivering Not metaphorically shivering, literally shivering. And yet, he's paying a wife beater millions of dollars to represent his team, and he didn't shiver about that at all. It's almost like so many people in the world of sports are full of crap. Theo Epstein should be ashamed of himself for the way he responded here. And on top of that, this is just BS. It's 100% BS. The irony here is that 4chan created something out of nothing to ridicule the absurdity of the modern media obsession with calling everything racist. And in the process, they have now got the mainstream media so triggered by their made-up racism that the media, MSNBC, blocked out the okay hand gesture that I'm doing right now in their article about the story. In their article about the story, the mainstream media has now branded this racist, and they are blurring it so that it doesn't actually appear in their articles. Guys, girls, people with functional brains, this is pixelated. Go read my article on OutKick right now. They bought this ridiculousness so much hook, line, and sinker that on their Twitter feed, you can go to it right now at MSNBC, they blocked out the OK sign because they now believe that it's racist. This is why Donald Trump won. Donald Trump is an inarticulate voice for a very articulable problem, which is our society has gone insane. And almost no one is willing to stand up with a public voice like me and call out absurdities like this. This has everything. The Anti-Defamation League ran an entire article pointing out how absurd this is. All the Cubs had to do was look into that investigation. It took 30 seconds on Google. All they had to do was think back to when they were kids. Is there anyone out there watching or listening to this right now who at some point in time has not played the circle game where you hold your circle right beneath your waist or thereabouts, and if somebody looks at it, you have to punch them in the arm? This is a staple of junior high school. This is a staple of high school. Immature, ridiculous men of all ages, sexes, nationalities, everything. Everyone has played that game over the last 50 years. It's one of the craziest stories that I have ever seen. We are living in a modern day McCarthy era, and most people are unwilling to actually come out and attack the absurdities that are going on in our country. And it actually scares me sometimes. I look around and I feel like the only sane person left in America. How is there not a huge brigade of reasonable people saying, my God, what is going on? How is there not a single person in the Cubs organization who can use Google or who played that game? How is there not a single person willing to point out that this is not real? And how is it that we have gotten so obsessed with words and symbols in this society that Addison Russell can make millions of dollars despite beating up a woman and not be banned from Wrigley Field at all? But a fan probably trying to get the attention of his friends and family back home is banned for life? Again, I bet the Cubs have never banned anyone for flicking off the camera, which is incredibly common. I encourage you, implore you even, to go read my article about this on OutKick and actually understand what's going on here and why this is such a scary time in our country. This is a big deal because every time something like this happens, we set the precedent that this behavior that we saw from Theo Epstein is normal and that it's acceptable and that there's nothing wrong with it. When we set that precedent, it only encourages and guarantees that it's going to happen again and again and again. And so I don't understand it. I don't really at all understand what's going on. But it's a really scary time in our country. And somebody needs to punch back in a big way against it. It just has to happen. Absolutely has to happen. All right. I could talk about this all day. I went in a big way and talked about it on the radio show this morning. I wrote thousands of words about it. I would encourage everybody to go check it out. All right. A couple of other things I got to hit quickly before I run and go do television on FS1 here. The Warriors are up 3-2. Last night's game, if you watched it, the Warriors got the win. Rockets got the cover. But the big news is Kevin Durant potentially out for the rest of the series, and we're getting a reverse Chris Paul situation. Two teams have played 19 games. The Warriors actually down in the past 19, 10-9 in favor of the Rockets. I think there's good value here on potentially the Rockets winning the series. I've already bet on the Rockets to win the overall championship. I'm on the Rockets huge on the money line. Can make about 30% of your money if you put a lot on the Rockets. I think they win on Friday. I think Sunday is anybody's game, and I think it's worth paying attention to. So maybe finally there's some drama in the NBA. Golf. I played in the Pro-Am, Regions Pro-Am yesterday. It was awesome. Guys I played with, John Daly ended up 6th, so Steve Stricker was our pro. Played alongside of Kirby Smart all day. Played with John Bell from Widespread Panic and Taylor Hicks, who won American Idol Season 5. We had an awesome time. Great day down in Birmingham, a little bit suntanned, as you can see. Went down there, and it was phenomenal. Just an outstanding experience. Everybody was great, spectacular. I met a lot of listeners out there. It was just a really cool setup in general. I absolutely loved every minute of it. I thank Regions for bringing me down there, and I hope to do more Pro-Ams in the future. I wasn't awful. I hit one shot that imperiled people. I caught a 3-wood and just totally sculled it off to the right, and I had to scream, watch out, basically, you're about to die. But she survived. We shot 10 under as a group, and we played a lot of my shots. So I almost killed one woman who followed us for all 18 holes, and for that I apologize. I hit one shot that could have killed somebody all day. I hit a couple of really good shots, including one where I think I threw Steve Stricker off because I was in front of him. He had to play from the further back tees, and I was in front of him, and I was worried about the pole and whether or not it was going to be in my way, the rope along the course. And so my caddy was Lance Taylor, who works down at Jocks in Birmingham, and he pulled the pole out. And so I actually hit before Steve Stricker. I jumped him, even though he was further back from me, and then he put the next ball in the water. So I think I might have rattled him by throwing off the golf etiquette, but I hit an incredible shot there. Kirby Smart gave the best compliment to my golf game I could possibly have. He turned to me and he said, "You're the best 20 handicap I've ever played with." So big time moment of coming together for me and Kirby Smart. One of the all-time great backhanded compliments. You're the best 20 handicap I've ever played with. I had a pretty good day. I hadn't been out on the golf course in like 9 or 10 months. So given that, I couldn't hit my woods at all. But I was decent off the tee by and large and put myself into decent shape with my iron play. Kirby Smart was really funny. There's a video up of him making fun of me. If you guys didn't see it, you can go to my Twitter feed at Clay Travis. Scroll down. There's video up of him. Good dude. I had a really fun time. I mean, we were out in the course 5 hours, same golf cart. It was a really good time. So that was a lot of fun. Finally, Fox has gone all in on sports gambling. I've been telling you guys for months that I would like to, if I were you, I would buy a bunch of the different sports gambling companies. I bought a ton of them back in January. Yesterday at the earnings report, Fox announced that they're coming all in with Fox Bet, and I think this is going to be insanely successful. I think that Fox Bet is going to do really, really well. It's great for Lock It In. It's great for me at OutKick. They're going to partner with the Stars Group, which created Sky Bet, if you're familiar at all with the English relationship. And I think OutKick is going to grow a lot. And Fox Bet is they're going to be in every state where sports gambling is officially legal. And so you'll be able to bet on everything. You'll be able to have an app, and we'll be promoting it and advertising it on Lock It In and other Fox Sports properties throughout the entire fall and on into the future. Fox is investing $200+ million in the Stars Group and has an opportunity to take a 50% stake in all of their sports entities. I think it's going to be massive. I think it's going to be a big deal, and I am really excited about it. Finally, I got to tell you, there is a ridiculous story out there about Kyrie Irving and where he's going to head. I have no idea what he's going to do, but if you watch Lock It In, I've been arguing the Celtics hate Kyrie Irving and that they're worse with him on the court than they were without him. Last year, they won 11 playoff games without him. This year, they won 5 playoff games with him, including 4 straight losses to the Bucks. I think wherever Kyrie Irving goes, he's not going to be liked because this is the new reality. I also, if you guys remember well, I have been arguing for a long time that it makes a lot of sense for the Lakers to trade LeBron James. If I were the Lakers, if I was Jeannie Buss, I'd get off the LeBron James train right now. He's turning 35 years old. He still has some value for you. He does not have a no-trade clause. That is the play beyond a shadow of a doubt. If you're thinking about the long-range future of the Lakers, trade him now. Don't screw it up. Get rid of him. It's the smart play. All right, I got to go do my television show. Appreciate all of you. I got Little League Baseball to coach in the afternoon. I think I'll be live tomorrow, but I implore you, in all seriousness, if you like this show at all, if you enjoy listening to me at all, go to OutKick.com and read my story about this situation with Chicago Cubs. It is the height of absurdity, and reasonable people of all different backgrounds need to start having their voices heard instead of allowing a tiny minority of people on social media who are obsessed with being victims, perpetual victimhood. You need to stop letting them dictate the way that people respond because it sets an awful precedent going forward. I appreciate all of you. Use the OK symbol as much and as often as you can, either up or down, unless you happen to look down, in which case you deserve to get punched. But remember, there's a secret here. If you break the circle, you get to deliver the punching. Okay, boys and girls, my name is Clay Travis. This has been OutKick the Show. Kisses. I'll talk to you either tomorrow or on Sunday right after Game of Thrones, Episode 5. See you guys. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP.